So it's costing the city money for his inability to be real and say, hey, I have this disease, and you know, maybe in 2 years I won't be able to actually fulfill my contract. He broke his contract. The city, the citizens here should not be paying for his mistake. I don't know everything, but just logically it seems, that seems like the logical thing in any business, in any capacity. If you break your contract, you don't get paid. Bottom line.
Because they're union.
Okay, I'm going to try to answer.
The chief's not union.
Chief's not union.
The chief isn't union. I'm being careful not because I'm against transparency, but because I don't want to get sued. Yeah. And I don't want to get the board sued. Okay? The simple fact is, because it involves medical conditions, we meaning they, can't specifically tell you what the medical condition is.
I don't care what it is.
No, I know, I understand. But because of that, they can't discuss the facets of the condition. Does that make sense?
I don't care about the facets.
Well, the facets being whether it was known before, known now, or what how bad it was before, how bad it is now. I don't even know. Okay, I wasn't here then. I don't.
He knew. He knew. He says he has this for a long time. He knew. He went in and under false pretenses, signing a contract with this beautiful city that I hate seeing going down the drain behind, I don't know, incompetent thinking or whatever. But if the man knew he was sick, he had the obligation to tell Persing and anybody else, this is a disease I have and I might not be able to fulfill my contract. In that case, that becomes null and void. I don't think the city should have to pay when he knew he had this.
Jewel, can I also ask, don't you have to have some kind of physical test or something before you join, or a mental evaluation or something before you join a police department to kind of just say, hey, I'm capable of doing the job? And if so, why didn't we do it?
Special chief.
Okay. The answer is this. To be at this point, okay, or I shouldn't even say at this point, in the past, there's union issues or whatever, but my understanding is to become a patrolman, to become anything but chief, you have to undergo those processes. When you're hiring a chief, it's different, okay? Now, I'm not saying that that would be the same process today, okay? Am I making sense to you, Deb? You know what I mean? I'm saying, I think there's a lot of things that need to be changed about a lot of things, but the simple fact is, I can't change what was done 4 years ago.
Right.
So
no,
that,
I
can tell you legally there was no
so that
requirement.
we don't vote the same people in who's accountable for making such a huge mistake and then throwing it on the one person who came in after it was all done. I just want to know who's really accountable. Was it just for saying, did everybody vote on this guy coming in? And you all can sit here and say you didn't know, you didn't know. It was all over the papers in Williamsport that there were issues going on up there. Why would we hire this man?
First of all, Deb, he is a nice man. He did a hell of a job.
He can be nice all he wants,
No,
but he didn't do a good job.
He did a hell of a job for us when he was here. He has problems. And it happened, Deb. I'm sorry.
It happened here or there?
Well,
Where did it happen at, Jimmy?
Again, Deb, I can't.
I mean, he could be a nice fellow he was, but he was a liability to us. And knowing that we're in the situation economically as we are in this city, we should never hire him.
Deb, you mentioned liability now. But when he was doing an excellent job, he was here, you never sent out the bill,
What
did you?
was he doing, Jimmy? Hey, listen.
Well, he didn't do nothing. Is that what you're saying, Deb? Please.
Please,
In 2 years he was here, you say he didn't do nothing.
What did he do? Tell me. Tell me all these wonderful things he did.
Was he on the street? Did he patrol the street?
Was he like Officer Moscow?
It's amazing, all of a sudden he isn't here. Now everybody wants to speak up against him.
This is
You were here, Julie?
We were allowed to ask him questions.
Yes, you were, Deb.
David was sitting in that seat, and when I tried to direct questions to Tim Miller, he's like, He wanted me to direct it to David. Yes, I was here.
I know you were here.
I would like to
as
know
far
what right
as
he
the-
did.
You
I
gonna move
really
this on,
do.
Mr. Mayor?
And the
I
material.
don't know what he paid all that money for. Was it
Excuse
his
me?
salary's 80,000? Let me know
The
what it's
material
80,000.
that I provided regarding a social media page, I provided that to each one of you because it isn't technically a law yet. It's being discussed. People in elected offices can have disclaimers on their page, no trolls, no violence, no whatever. So it's not a done deal for a social page as far as an elected official goes. And you have the material right in front of you.
Councilman Ister on the resolution, flood mitigation grant.
Yes, we're applying for a grant for the project in Reagan Street from the multimodal transportation fund grant, $1,750,000 from the Commonwealth Financial Authority. I can make a motion to apply for that and have the mayor sign the application.
Karlovic,
Yes.
Kramer, Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes. Next of all, invoices to be paid. Chestnut Street Phase 2, invoice 180038, 180037, and 180039. I can make a motion of, the sum is $5,409.84 for Phase 2 of Chestnut Street. I can make a motion to pay those three invoices.
Second.
Thank you.
Kramer,
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Karlovic.
Phase 3 of Chestnut Street, invoice
Clerk has a no.
Phase 3, invoice $18,004,090. I'd like to make a motion to pay that invoice.
Second.
Thank you.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Karlovic.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
Invoice for Archer and 4th Street to redo the traffic signal. Invoice $18,035, $2,126.25. Make a motion to pay that invoice.
Second.
Thank you.
Ister.
Yes.
Karlovic.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Reagan Street project, invoice 180041, $7,773.25. I'd like to make a motion to pay the invoice.
Second.
Thank you.
Reese.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Karlovic.
No.
Kramer. Reichner.
Yes.
Invoice for WPA Wall, 180036, the sum of $2,464.56. I'd like to make a motion to pay the invoice.
Second.
Thank you.
Karlovic.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese. Ister.
Yes.
Councilman Reese.
Yeah, the three road closures coming up. The holiday parade on 10/18 from Market Street all in along North 4th Street. The Santa parade on 11/23 down Market Street. And then the SRI New Year's Eve celebration on New Year's Eve on Market Street. I make a motion to approve those road closures.
Second.
Kramer.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Karlovic.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we pay our invoices of $79,188.98 from the general fund and $45.37 from
Second.
Ister. Karlovic.
No.
Kramer.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Ister.
Councilman Ister, health insurance.
Health insurance, we all have a copy of our health insurance for the employees of the city. I can make a motion that Chris Reach reviews them, and everybody else can review them. I think Terry comes due at the beginning of the year, January 19th. I'd like for you to be in charge. Thank you, Chris. Give me a second.
I got a question. Is this the current insurance coverage we have? I thought it was Blue Benetton, or is it what?
Benetton is the
Aye.
Provide.
Need a second?
Second.
Kramer?
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Eister? Karlovic?
No. Sunbury Patrol Officer Vernon Petty has turned in his resignation effective August 12th of this year. I make a motion to accept Officer Petty's resignation.
Reichner?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Eister?
Yes.
Karlovic?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, since he's resigned.
Thank you, Officer Petty, for providing 19 years of law enforcement service and safety to our city. I wish you the best with your future endeavors. You were saying?
Yes. Since he's moving on to retiring, and I guess, is it true that Mazio is leaving us?
As you all may be aware, Officer Mazio has accepted a position with the Colmont Police Department. I have talked with Officer Mazio regarding the sudden employment change. This change is allowing him to move forward with his professional and personal goals. He told me that he is very thankful for all the friends and opportunities that have been afforded to him by the residents of Sunbury during the past 10 years. He has not yet officially turned in the resignation notice, and I should be receiving one this week at some point. So far this year, we have had one officer retire, one officer resign due to moving out of the state with his family, and 2 officers resign due to other employment opportunities. We have also recently been contacted by several individuals who are interested in applying for a position within our police force. We will be conducting a second civil service test later this year.
Since we're so short-handed, I think we have a gentleman from Lori. Brad, what's that gentleman's name? The officer.
We have a part-time right now, Officer Baldwin.
All right, and just so you all are aware, Officer Wagnuts failed our first civil service test, and it was requested to me to look at the opposite direction, let him continue testing with the other new candidate that did pass their qualifications.
Civil service, how that works.
I was contacted, the city solicitor asked me to look into possible hiring. Under the civil service, we have basically, the police department, as the mayor has said, we're in crisis with manpower. Under the civil service regulations, there is a provisional appointments under 5.4 that the city, if they so choose, can basically hire somebody that is qualified to work full-time right away and test at a later date. The solicitor asked me to reach out to the Civil Service Commission, which I did, and I spoke to the chairman of that civil service, who spoke to the other 2 gentlemen on the board, and they are willing to basically enact that provision due to our dire need of police officers on the street. There's 5 guys working right now. I've spoken at length with this with the mayor. The schedule right now is okay, but it's not doable. So we just need to get guys hired, and they have agreed that we can test later with the new hires. If we hire people provisionally and they don't pass the exam at that point the city can make their decision with whatever they have to do. But at this point, like I said, I talked to the solicitor about it, and he's actually, he knows everything about the provisional agreement in the civil service regulations.
When could the officer start?
He can pretty much start whenever.
Mr. Mayor, earlier.
Go ahead.
Pardon?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Well, no, I have a question regarding, since he can start.
We have one officer that is available to hire in September, and he's already passed the majority of our civil service testing.
When could you get on the street?
September.
He could be on the street.
Right now,
by
Officer
himself.
Bognuts is working part-time for the city of Sunbury, and he is working the city streets.
Could this officer be by himself in September?
No.
When could to keep you by himself.
This new officer will sue the city
Why will he sue the city?
because he passed the civil service test. He passed the standards.
Okay. So, but
And right now, the city's trying to bypass this new cadet that is brand new,
we're not.
fresh, out of the Act 120
If
Police
I
Academy.
can just address that, Mr. Mayor. Nobody's trying to bypass this candidate. I was there, the candidate that is currently, he's not even out of the academy. Okay, that's
He's
correct.
done in the middle of August and he's available in September.
Yes, he'll be available. What people don't understand is, and I've explained it to a lot of people, that the gentleman, even if they do hire him right away, he will not be allowed to be on the street by himself till at least February or March of next year. Unfortunately, right now, my job is to make sure that we have people and boots on the street that can help the citizens at this point right now. I'm not in the middle of any political squabbling right now, and I don't want to be.
Were there
okay?
2 officers on shift today?
What's that?
Were there 2 officers on shift today?
Yes.
Why can't we have one officer train the other officer if we already have 2 officers on shift in the daytime?
Say that again, Mayor?
Right now, there was 2 officers on shift earlier today, correct? Okay, so why can't we hire this new
Because one of
candidate?
those officers is gonna have to be moved because once Officer Massey leaves, I've got to fill another shift. That's the problem right now. So the problem is, this guy, he probably will be very well qualified. The process is not over yet. We still have to do oral boards for him and do an extensive background, which is what the process is when it comes to hiring a new officer from the civil services state. I'm not saying bypass this candidate. I think he's going to be, he will be a good attribute to the city. Right at this very point in time, we need manpower on the streets. And I'm sorry, Mayor, it is what it is. We are strapped. Our last weekend alone, I worked 15 hours on Saturday. I came right back around until 10 o'clock and came back in at 5 in the morning because we had nobody to work. And the other officer worked a split shift of like 12 to 13 hours, and another guy worked 14 hours. Guys are just strapped. I'm not in this, nothing political. It's all about making sure the citizens of Sunbury are safe, my guys and the officers are safe, and everybody feels comfortable. Right now, guys are strapped. So it's not bypassing this new candidate at all. I would love to hire both of them at one time, but I know with finances, it's impossible.
Frank, why is it that these officers are leaving, electing to leave? Because what I'm hearing is that maybe not all, but some are electing to go to another job.
All right, and real quick, if we hire Officer Bogdan's full-time, it doesn't give us an additional officer because he's already working part-time on the streets for us.
But it's not, but Mayor, it's not guaranteed. He splits time between 2 departments.
On average, how many hours a week is Officer Bogdan's work for the city of Sunbury?
Anywhere between 60 and 72.
A week.
Not a week, every pay period, every 2 weeks. But that's not guaranteed, that's what I'm saying.
When you talk to Officer Mazza, when does he indicate he's leaving us?
Once he receives official notice from, was it Coltmont? Was it Coltmont?
Yeah, it's called Borough.
And once he receives the official notice from them that he's hired, he'll give us 2 weeks.
So earlier this evening, when you gave your speech, you indicated how desperate we need manpower on the streets.
Yes, and right now Officer Bogdan's is working the streets.
40 hours a week plus?
Just under.
No, that's not true. You just said 16 to...
It's anywhere from, a week, he's working between 30 and 35 hours a week.
Okay. But if he's
It just
full-time,
depends, like, because he's committed to another department. That's
how
the
many
problem.
hours do you work for that?
Well, I work is 40 hours a week.
But how much overtime do you get?
Right now, it just depends. If somebody calls
Well,
off or
what I'm
something.
getting at, he could be running a lot more hours than just 40.
Correct.
The gentleman from York.
Can you answer my question?
I'm sorry, Joel, can you repeat that?
Why are these officers leaving? I understand some people say that they're retiring, but what I'm hearing is that they're going to other opportunities.
Well,
I'm not
I'll-
specifically talking about Steve Mazio.
For instance, like Officer Captain Bennett, he retires, or he could retire at any, he was only here for a year and a half, he had to go because of the drop program.
Right.
Found an opportunity to work up in Montville County, and he took the job. That's kind of like how that drop program works. You can say I'm gonna be here 5 years, but if it's not done, you come in the next week and say I'm out, okay? Officer Petty, he's leaving, he took a job at the University of Bloomsburg. his daughter's going to go to college. It's kind of it's a no-brainer for him. I mean, I wish I would have been able to do that with my son. I'm just now paying for his college degree, helping him pay for his college degree. That I wish I had that opportunity to jump ship like that. I probably would have. It would have saved me a lot of money.
Okay.
So other than that, I mean, guys, it's at that point in time in their careers, in your career like now, anywhere from 15 up, that's when you see law enforcement gets burned out after about 20. It's a very stressful job.
Sure.
That's why you don't see a lot of guys working longer than 20, 25 years. There's very few exceptions. It's just a very stressful job. Some of these guys are taking a lot of stress off themselves at this point in time. So I know they hear a lot of rumors, oh, this and that. No,
Right.
it's just better, it's more economic for some of these guys to move, collect their pension and move.
We're gonna go there?
Family.
So the 5 mil tax increase that was put into effect in 2017 for 2018
I have no idea.
will pay for another officer or two. Because that is what was voted on
That's not me.
in 2017, I'm just saying. That's what was voted on in 2017.
Well, we want to hire an officer, is what we're getting at.
Right, well then, you should have,
Let me also be clear, because the many conversations the mayor and I have had, his goal is to hire a lot more than just the one.
Right,
okay?
right,
His
right,
goal, but budgetary reasons right now, we're kind of strapped.
right,
Okay?
oh, I understand.
And any of them, even the mayor and the rest of the council have all said to me, we want to get guys on the street, we want to get guys on the street.
Sure,
This is one of those anomalies that just boom happened. I know probably about 10 years ago, and I explained this to some of them, when we sat down in contract talks with the people at the time, we told them 10 years ago, and it's not a knock to anybody, but we said, hey, in about 10 years, you're gonna have a big turnover of officers because of, it's just the way it is. And it happens all the time. Back in '89, between '89 and '93, I think you had a pile of cops leave and a new group come in. It's just that everything just kind of happened, boom, at once, and to the whole council and the mayor, it all got thrown in the lap at once. Nobody up here and in the department was prepared for this.
well, the last,
And that's what we're trying to do. We're gonna get back, we're gonna get there. And the guys are working hard and they're retired, they're working hard as they can.
Sure.
We're trying to do what we can, and I can say the mayor and council are all supportive of us. They have been. Like the conversation that Councilman Reese and I had, I called him about that, so I want to explain that. It was a 2-minute conversation because he said, hey, I'm hearing this and that. I said, hey, whatever, you guys need to do, consolidation. We've talked about that, I think, for 15 years at least, since I've been here. There's nobody not against it, okay? It's how do you do it, So we're getting there.
you can't have a state police coming here to be.
And let me say this, the state police, I've contacted them, I've contacted local departments, they're all chipping in to help us what they can.
Sure.
But the state police, for instance, the state police have 12 or 13 guys to cover the county.
Right, oh, I understand.
When I got hired here, we had 16 guys, okay? And it was a different era, okay? But now, we're, like even the mayor said, we're having trouble even getting people to come in to test.
Well,
It's not just Sunbury, it's all around the area.
I just wanted to kind of clarify the fact that the treasurer said in one of the articles, the media articles, that we don't have the figures, we can't hire a cop, we don't have the figures. Well, that 5 mil tax increase was supposed to cover that. And if there was money issues with legal bills, not on us. If you don't get your utility bills in 2 months, aren't you going to be calling the utility and saying, yo, where is it? To just let it slide for months? That's ridiculous.
That's not for me, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, thank you.
Has anybody asked Officer Mazio to stay instead of leaving the city? He's a very nice man. I've talked to him many times, and I just think that he probably wouldn't move on if he was really asked to stay. There's some reason he's leaving the city suddenly, it's like so fast. And everybody else, like we already discussed that, I'm not going to rehash it, but has anybody actually asked Officer Mazio, please stay on in Sunbury? The citizens like you, we like you, whatever the situation is. rather than having to get new people and train them, even though we need a lot more officers, because the worst of the worst.
But to answer part of that question,
Okay,
we need to hire new people because
that's absolutely.
a lot of us are getting to that point in our careers where we have to move on. We have to make some career choices, we have to.
But he's moving on, not on to another career, he's moving on in the same capacity he's working in Sunbury. You know, it just makes sense to ask
And in defense of the mayor, we were all this was dropped on us on Saturday. Saturday, we were all like, oh, where'd this come from? Like, nobody knew.
I was just curious. I ran into him today and talked to him for a few minutes. I was just curious if anybody approached him to stay on with Sunbury rather than go to Colma. Thank you.
Back to Mr. Mayor, you had said earlier in your speech about needing officers on the street. Is there any reason why we can't hire that gentleman from there?
He's already working the streets.
Well, that's true to a point.
I guess just for us, what's the holdback that you have putting him on the streets more? If, again, and we've never said we're not gonna hire this other guy too. But what's the holdup there? What's your reasoning against it?
Doesn't he have another responsibility than the criminal borough?
He's part-time.
Pardon?
He's splitting time between Sunbury and Norwich part-time. So
Okay,
if
that
we-
wasn't,
Yeah, if we got him, again, I know there's strong feelings on this, but if we got him full-time, then we have priority. Sunbury wide priority with him working. That's my opinion.
would he have to be vetted then? Would he, even though he's working both sides of the river, if you will, would he have to be vetted?
Yes, in the process, when I talked to the civil services, he still will have to take a competitive exam, another one later on, which I would recommend that they do it with the next testing process, put him in that pool.
So he would only experience civil service testing, or is there other testing?
Oh, it's a whole gamut of testing. It's a
Okay.
whole gamut.
All right.
It's just called civil service test, but it's a whole
Right.
gamut. It's everything.
Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor?
Piecing things together.
Pardon?
We need officers. There's no doubt about that. This city's in a horrible crisis right now.
Joyce.
So making that in the form of motion, hire him?
Under a contingency. He needs to complete the civil service standards as any other new hire.
And just to throw that in there, because of, you and I discussed about getting another test going, I would say the next available test, and it most likely will be within a year. So just in case there's problems, Terry can attest to this, that you can't do it in 3 weeks. It's impossible.
If we're doing this, then we need to somehow make a motion to bring on the new guy that already passed the majority of the standards, bring him to October to hire, under contingency that he finishes his oral standards for the civil service test and everything else that's
Everything
required.
else has to be completed.
Because Officer Bognitz has more that he has to complete before this new guy. I don't see why we can't hire both of them at some point this year.
Let's address one issue at a time.
No, because it's not, we're not gonna skip the new guy.
Now, you keep saying skip the new guy. Who said that? Other than you?
Right, so when are we gonna hire the new guy?
Well, let's get him out of the academy first.
He's done at the academy, middle of August,
Well, then
and then when's his oral? Right after he's done with his schooling, his oral civil service test is scheduled. And then he can be actually hired in September as a brand new cadet for the city of Sunbury. And Officer Bognitz still has the entire civil service standards that he would have to pass.
Even with the new camp, you're looking at October, November, he'll actually be in uniform. couple things he has to do after he graduates. Go through that process.
And right now, Sir Watkins is working for us, like what, you just said, 30, 35 hours a week.
At least.
And he still has to pass the civil service standards. I'm not gonna skip standards for one person and not somebody else.
No, he just said, he takes civil service test.
It's just, this is what,
You gonna make the motion or not?
We even have enough to say, because we're gonna make a motion to get that. We have enough what we're gonna hire Matt Day once.
Well, there's,
essentially what Officer Baldwin would be going into would be Officer Gabat's. The rest of the, we had, Officer Gabat was gone since what, June? So we had a little bit of lawyer, a little bit of payout with him, but you have like 2 or 3 days that you haven't had anything. So you're looking at Officer Baldwin's salary, because for a guy with his experience, I would bring him in right at Gabat's salary. Just bring him in for the rest of the year. Plus he's single, so the health insurance will be lower, stuff like that.
Maybe it should be tabled until the next meeting.
No.
Julie, a minute ago, you were worried about officers on the street. Now you want to table them. You, yes.
I do have a question, if I may.
No, I was asking why officers.
It wasn't 5 mils, it was 2.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but Joel, maybe this is more a question for you. Is rushing through the, is accelerating the hiring process going to open us up to any liability through the state, though?
State?
The answer to the question is not through the state. The only liability that could be possible, in my opinion, would be if Officer Vognetz and this other, I'll call him the new candidate, okay? Both took the test at the same time. Officer Vognetz did not pass one of the facets of the test. The other kid passed everything. And I'm calling him a kid because to me he probably is.
He is.
Therefore, if we hire Officer Vognetz who didn't pass the test and don't hire the other kid, that could be an issue, okay? And that, I think, is what the mayor was saying earlier, and I have to agree with that. However, I also agree with what I think everybody said, and I don't think anybody's arguing, we need more officers.
Right.
What my understanding of what the mayor is saying is he wants to hire both. What my understanding of what council is saying is, I'm not sure yet. I don't know where they're at on hiring both, or just Officer Vognetz now and this other gentleman later. So the issue would be, if we hire only Vognetz and don't hire the other kid, and the other kid passed all the tests, there could be liability there. Yes.
So what is the problem? Why don't we hire?
So we have Bazio, we have Petty, at least through to the next council.
No, Petty's done.
Petty already left.
Petty's done. Petty's gone.
We have
Petty used his
Bazio.
time to reach August 12th date. Mazzio, Officer Mazzio is still working. He said, I believe he told the mayor he's going to give us a 2-week notice,
So-
which he's thinking is somewhere in between August and beginning of September.
Can you make the schedule work if he stays until the next?
I can't guarantee that. I mean, it's worse. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to try to keep without trying to cut as much overtime as I can. But herein lies the problem. If somebody gets hurt or sick, and that's what happened on the weekend, somebody got sick, and it was, I'm